How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, November 19th, 2021. I am James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Thursday, November 18th, 2021. Taking a step back and taking a quick snapshot of where we are in the calendar year, with all of baseball being over and all that's left being awards to be distributed out, we are still in the midst of the football season, as college football has a couple more weeks in its regular season, as in the NFL has about 2 more months left in its regular season. In terms of basketball, college basketball and pro basketball have just gotten started, and hockey is underway as well. And I'm going to start getting into hockey at the beginning of the 2022 year. And then, of course, soccer is transitioning from its international breaks from World Cup qualifiers. And, of course, they have a lot of testing and assorting and getting back into shape for their clubs. So in the meantime, I'm going to jump first into the college matchups, and the only college matchup took place in the basketball realm. Starting with the third-ranked college basketball team in the nation, the Kansas Jayhawks hosted the unranked Stony Brook Seawolves. Kansas would end up beating Stony Brook 88-59, winning the game by 29 after they outscored Stony Brook by 6 in the first half and by 23 in the second half. The third-ranked Jayhawks were led in scoring by their starting guard, Ochai Agbaji, their senior out of Kansas City, Missouri. Agbaji would go on to finish with 25 points and 2 steals in 30 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. With this win, the third-ranked Kansas City Jayhawks are now 3-0, and unranked Stony Brook is 0-2. Looking at the 19th ranked team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes went to Xavier to face off against the unranked Musketeers, and the unranked Musketeers would get the best of Ohio State. They would end up winning this game 71-65, outscoring Ohio State by 9 in the first half. Ohio State would outscore Xavier by 3 in the second half, but it wouldn't be enough. The 19th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes were led by their starting forward, E.J. Liddell, in scoring. He finished with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 blocks in 32 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, and he would go on to make 2 of his 3 free throw attempts. The unranked Xavier Musketeers were led in scoring by their starting guard, Paul Scruggs. Scruggs would go on to finish with 14 points and 6 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 5 for 13 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. Additionally, their guard off the bench, Jack Nunge, would go on to finish with 14 points of his own. The 7-foot junior would finish with 14 points, 14 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in 37 minutes. He shot 5 for 12 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the unranked Xavier Musketeers are 3-0, and with this loss, the 19th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are 3-1. Taking a look now at what's going on with the 22nd ranked team in the nation, the St. Bonaventure Bonnies would end up facing off against the unranked Boise State Broncos. And then the Bonnies would end up beating Boise State in the Charleston Classic. St. Bonnies would end up outscoring Boise by 9 in the second half after they were outscored by 3 in the first half in order to pick up this 6-point win. The 22nd ranked Bonnies were led in scoring by their starting guard, Kyle Lofton, their senior out of New Jersey. Lofton would go on to finish with 17 points and 7 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field and 5 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the 22nd ranked St. Bonaventure Bonnies are 3-0. With this loss, the unranked Boise State Broncos are 1-2. Taking a look now at what's going on with the 24th ranked team in the nation, the Florida Gators hosted the unranked Milwaukee Panthers. Florida would win this game 81-45, winning it by 36 after they outscored Milwaukee by 11 in the first half, and they outscored them by 25 in the second, outscoring them 48-23, more than doubling their scoring output in the second half. The 24th ranked Gators were led in scoring by their starting forward, Colin Castleton. Their senior their 6'11" senior out of Florida, would go on to finish with 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 steals. He did all this in 25 minutes as he shot 9 for 17 from the field. With this win, the 24th ranked Florida Gators are 3-0 on the year, and with this loss, the unranked Milwaukee Panthers are 1-2 to start their college basketball season. Taking a look at what's going on at the professional level, starting off with football, the Atlanta Falcons hosted the New England Patriots in the very first matchup of Week 11. The New England Patriots would end up shutting out the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl 51 rematch, winning it 25-0, outscoring Atlanta 13-0 in the first half and 12-0 in the second half. On the losing end, the Atlanta Falcons were led in passing, of course, by their elite starting quarterback, Matt Ryan. He completed 19 of his 28 passes as he threw for 153 yards and 2 interceptions. The Falcons' leading tackler on the defensive side of the ball was Foyesade Olakun. He had 10 tackles on the day, and he would have one of the team's 3 sacks. A.J. Terrell would log the team's only interception as it would go along with his 9 tackles. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the New England Patriots were led by their first-round draft pick quarterback out of Alabama, Mac Jones. He would end up throwing for 207 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He also ran for an additional yard, so that's 208 total yards of offense for Mac. Their leading rusher, Ramondre Stevenson, would finish with 12 carries for 69 yards, as he also would finish with 1 reception for 6 yards, as he had 75 total yards of offense. The Patriots' leading tackler was Kyle Van Noy. He had 8 tackles, and he had 2 of the team's 4 sacks. He also had a pick 6 for himself, so Kyle Van Noy had one heck of a game. J.C. Jackson, Devin McCourty, and Adrian Phillips would log the team's other 2 interceptions off of Josh Rosen and Felipe Franks. With this win, the New England Patriots are 7-4, and with this loss, the Atlanta Falcons are 4-6. As of course, there are 7 more weeks left in the NFL season. Taking a look at what's going on in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers hosted the Golden State Warriors for what was a matchup of the NBA Finals for like half of a decade. The Warriors would end up beating the Cavaliers 104-89. They would end up outscoring the Cavaliers 36-8 by 28 points in order to win this game by 15. The Cleveland Cavaliers on the losing end were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Vanderbilt, Darius Garland. He finished with 25 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals alongside 7 turnovers in 38 minutes. He went on to shoot 10 for 22 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. The Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard, Stephen Curry. He finished with 40 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 35 minutes. He shot 15 for 27 from the field, 9 for 16 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. With this win, the Golden State Warriors are 13-2. With this loss, the Cleveland Cavaliers are now 9-8. Taking a look at what's going on in Miami, the Heat hosted the Washington Wizards. The Heat would end up pulling off the home win, beating the Wizards 112-97. They won this game by 15 after they outscored the Wizards by 11 points in the middle quarters. They outscored the Wizards in every single quarter in the game, by the way. The Wizards were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Bradley Beal. He finished with 30 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 6 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 11 for 18 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and he shot 5 for 6 from the foul line. The Miami Heat were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jimmy Butler. He finished with 32 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 turnovers in 34 minutes. He shot 11 for 19 from the field, and he shot a perfect 10 for 10 from the foul line. Their elite starting center, Bam Adebayo, would finish with 20 points, 9 rebounds, and a couple of assists in 30 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, Kyle Lowry, finished with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 3 for 8 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the Miami Heat are now 11-5, and with this loss, the Washington Wizards are now 10-5 at this point in the year. Taking a look now at what's going on in Memphis, the Grizzlies hosted the LA Clippers, and the Grizzlies would end up beating the Clippers 120-108. The Grizzlies beat the Clippers by 12 after they outscored the Clippers by 9 in the second half. The Clippers were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Paul George. He finished with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 31 minutes. He would go on to shoot 9 for 18 from the field and 5 for 9 from 3. The Memphis Grizzlies on the winning end of this matchup were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant. He finished with 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 13 for 21 from the field and 2 for 5 from 3. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are now 8-7 on the year, and with this loss, the Los Angeles Clippers are now 9-6. Taking a look now at what's going on in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Timberwolves hosted the San Antonio Spurs. The Timberwolves would end up beating the Spurs 115-90, winning this game by 25 after they outscored the Spurs by 14 in the first quarter and by 10 in the fourth. The Spurs were led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Devin Vassell. He finished with 18 points in 24 minutes as he shot 8 for 14 from the field. The Minnesota Timberwolves were led in scoring by their elite starting center out of Kentucky, Karl Anthony Towns. He finished with 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell, would finish with 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 6 for 19 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3, and he shot 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Minnesota Timberwolves are now 6-9. With this loss, the San Antonio Spurs are now 4-11. Taking a look now at what's going on in Denver, the Denver Nuggets hosted the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers were able to beat the Nuggets 103-89 as the Sixers outscored the Nuggets by 17 in the middle two quarters in order to gain momentum and shift it in their favor. The Denver Nuggets on the losing end were led in scoring by the reigning NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic. He finished with 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists, as in 35 minutes, he would go on to shoot 10 for 17 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and 7 for 9 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Sixers were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Tyrese Maxey. He finished with 22 points, 5 rebounds in 35 minutes as he shot 9 for 15 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting shooting guard out of Duke, Seth Curry, would finish with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the Philadelphia 76ers are now 9-7. With this loss, the Denver Nuggets are now 9-6 at this point in the year. Taking a look now at what's going on in Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz hosted the Toronto Raptors. The Jazz would end up beating the Raptors 119-103. The Jazz would end up outscoring the Raptors by 14 points in the third and then by an additional 4 in the fourth. This 18-point deficit that they created in the second half would be enough for them to create this 16-point lead to give them the win. On the losing end of this matchup, the Toronto Raptors were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard out of Duke, Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. finished with 31 points in 33 minutes as he shot 12 for 18 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and he made both of his free throw attempts on the night. Their starting shooting guard out of Wichita State, Fred VanVleet, would finish with 24 points, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 7 for 17 from the field, and he shot 3 for 8 from 3 and 7 for 8 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Utah Jazz were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard Donovan Mitchell and their small forward off the bench Rudy Gay. Donovan Mitchell finished with 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 steals, as well as 6 turnovers in 29 minutes. Mitchell shot 6 for 13 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. Rudy Gay would finish with 20 points and 5 rebounds in 18 minutes. He shot 7 for 8 from the field, 5 for 6 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. Their elite starting center out of France, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 14 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 29 minutes. He shot a perfect 7 for 7 from the field. With this win, the Utah Jazz are now 10-5. With this loss, the Toronto Raptors are now 7-9. That is now what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups. And of course, with soccer doing all of its transitioning into club play, those are all the matchups I have for you from yesterday, November 18th. Once all of today's matchups and exhibitions are done, I will come back tomorrow on Saturday, November 20th, the 2021 for another episode of The Elite. And until then, I want to thank everyone for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you tomorrow with another episode. Peace out.